I'm on vacation every single day, cause I love my occupation. Hey, I'm on vacation. If you
This
don't
is my
like
new
it
favorite
like
song.
that, you should go and change it. Hey, I'm on vacation every single day, cause I love my occupation.
I really do.
Hey, I'm on vacation every single day, every single day. Every single day, every single day.
You know,
Great.
I'm going on vacation.
I know, but we're on vacation right now.
We are. Oh well,
Yep.
because of this song. But but I'm not. I'm in my
When
house.
is
As
that?
long as I'm in my house, I'm definitely not on vacation. But I am going on vacation on June 25th to the Virgin Islands. But I've already told you that, so I'm not going to rub it in any longer.
I'm so excited for you.
But hey, everyone, welcome to a Wednesday episode of Command Your Morning. We had a couple days where we weren't live and we were supposed to go live, but we had some scheduling issues. But you know what? Such is life, and the show must go on, and we are here. And by the way, if you're listening or you're watching on Facebook, you might notice our new graphics on the screen here. On the bottom right-hand corner, you'll notice all of the different places that you can watch and listen to Command Your Morning. Those places will be growing, but right now, Facebook Live, YouTube, on my YouTube channel, just go to Nick Baldwin and on YouTube and you'll find it. Spotify, you can listen to the podcast, which will be put onto the platform later in the day. And then also Podbean.
How cool is that?
Yeah. And we're going to go to Apple and Google, but they make you fill out all these forms and
I know. They're chasing us though. They're chasing us.
So how's it going, Jesse?
Oh man, it's so good. It's so good. There is we were talking over the weekend, and I'm seriously looking forward to hearing your perspective on this. Are we going to space?
Well,
I didn't know do you have an obsession with space? I have an absolute obsession with space. I watch my space shows, I watch my planet shows. I'm obsessed with it. And so I didn't know that you were too.
Well, I'm obsessed with space. I love space, and a couple things. And there's a reason why you're bringing this up. So I appreciate the unrehearsed segue. I appreciate that. So my kids are now watching Lost in Space on Netflix, the remake, not the one from 1950s, because that one's in gray and my kids don't like gray. Is that in gray? I don't want to watch it, Daddy.
So many shades of gray. Yes.
Yeah, there's lots of shades of gray. And so they're watching that. I watched recently the movie Stowaway on Netflix, which I thought was very good. And then I come to find out that it was on April 20th. The Mars rover collected. They were isolating and storing oxygen on Mars.
Yes.
They were able to turn the atmosphere in Mars into breathable oxygen.
Yes. So
how insane is that?
It's insane to me. They equipped the rover. It says it successfully extracted carbon dioxide from the atmosphere on Mars, and then electrochemically split oxygen atoms from carbon dioxide molecules. Do you know what that means? That's livable.
Get me off of Earth because it's a mess here.
Couldn't you at one point? This was a year or so ago. Somebody was selling real estate on Mars. They have no rights to do so, or maybe they do. I don't know. But you could buy a little piece of Mars, and it was symbolic of sorts. It was symbolic, but now I kind of wish I did. Yeah, that's very, very creative.
Yeah. So someone in the Facebook chat says, so the rover got high on 420.
Sure.
I'm sure there's no pun intended there, but I think this is absolutely incredible. And can I tell you something? Here's the crazy thing. You have these scientists doing amazing things, with science and stuff. And they're the ones that nobody even pays attention. You know what I mean?
Really?
We're so consumed with the Kardashians that we forget that there are people out there doing amazing, incredible work like this. It
blows my mind.
Go to Mars and breathe. I mean, not yet, but that's the idea.
There was it was about 3 years ago that in the International Space Station, they 3D printed a tool, like a wrench or something that they needed, right? And so they needed this in space. They 3D printed it in space, and yet we still don't have calorie-free wine. We have our priorities a little bit messed up, but it's still just as exciting. Just as exciting.
So listen to this. In the first, it says Moxie's oxygen production. I'm assuming Moxie is, Moxie works by separating oxygen atoms from carbon dioxide molecules, which are made up of one carbon atom and two oxygen atoms. I'm so smart when I'm not even reading this. All right. Yeah. A waste product, carbon monoxide, is emitted into the Martian atmosphere. Okay, check this out. In its first operation, Moxie's oxygen production was quite modest, about 5 grams, equivalent to about 10 minutes of breathable oxygen for an astronaut. Moxie is designed to generate up to 10 grams of oxygen per hour. That is so
Let's go.
So stinking cool. That is so cool. Oh
would
my
you go
gosh,
really?
so cool.
If you had the opportunity.
Go to Mars.
Would you go? No, really though. I don't think I would.
No, I don't think I don't know. And not right now, I wouldn't.
I really want to watch people. I really want to watch people go.
I don't want to go. I don't want to be the first one there.
Can I ask you a question?
Well, Aaron Kaufman in the chat is saying, can we please focus on saving this planet first? But Aaron, why would we do that if we could just leave?
We're done with you.
Isn't that like humans to just do that? Like my kids, will just leave stuff on the floor and go somewhere else, right? Or I will, and when you were in college, instead of washing your clothes, you just would go buy new ones.
We need clothes now.
You can do that with Earth.
I've been to the end of clothes. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
On a scale of 1 to 5, how smart are you? How smart are you?
Well, Jesse, I'm so glad you asked. At least a 3.5.
Okay, good. We can measure it. There are 5. All right, 5 new ways to measure your intelligence. I thought this was so smart. Well, of course I did. So number 5, you know what intellectual humility is? If I'm
assuming that you're so smart, but you stay humble about it.
If somebody asks you a question that you don't know the answer to, you would actually say, I don't know. That's intellectual humility. That's number 5. It's correlated to better decision making. Okay, that's the 5th one. The 4th one are obvious signs. So people who read in their free time skew smarter than those that don't. So the obvious signs are a valid data point. Okay, not to be ignored. Number 3, I love this. You remember the phrase, that's so meta?
I remember that's so Raven.
Okay, not so Raven.
That's so meta.
But metacognition means like you would talk about and think about your thinking, right? So you're able to analyze your thought processes.
Okay.
I think you have that. I think you do that.
I'm reading in my free time now, so that must mean I'm getting smarter.
You are, and you're curious. Number 2 is they know who killed the cat. They're saying that intelligent people tend to be curious. They have an itch to know more. And number 1, the strongest indicator of intelligence. They tell this story about 2 college roommates that they leave the same class. They go back to the dorm. They study. One studies for 20 minutes and he aces the test. The other has to study for 4 hours to ace the test. Right. And the number 1 strongest indicator of intelligence, this article is saying, it's the ability to simplify complex problems and solve them, right? So they're taking in a lot of information, simplifying it in order to get to the answer. That's the strongest indicator now of intelligence. I thought that was fascinating.
You have just solidified that I'm a genius.
You are. Me too.
All of those. I should have said, when you asked me at the beginning, how smart am I on a scale of 1 to 5? I should have just said, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, it was a trap. Should
have had some humility, but we're both geniuses, and we're about to bring on our guest in just a few minutes. Seth Mills will be here. We'll be right back.
I can't get enough of that. Seth Mills.
Hey.
What is going on, Seth Mills?
Good morning,
man.
sir.
Good morning. What's going on, Nick? I'm sitting here standing here rather, drinking coffee with you guys. It's a good morning.
It is a good morning. It's so good to have you. So, Seth Mills, team leader and rainmaker extraordinaire. Give us the 90-second you. Who are you? What do you do?
Oh man, I'm a family man. I'm a musician, and I'm passionate about helping people. And after a long road doing other things, I found a way to do that in real estate. So,
but how smart are you, Seth?
Yeah,
that's a good question. Ask me some questions, and I can, maybe you can discover it.
We
I'll
will.
let you decide.
What was the rating? What was the rating you gave yourself when Jesse was reading that off?
It was difficult to tell because it was like where the charts end. It was like way below them.
Good. You have
all
intelligent humility. What was it? I don't even remember. That's how smart. I don't even remember what it is. That's how smart we are.
So I have to. We ask everybody to fill out a little bio. I have to read part of this, and I need to ask you about it. You're such an awesome storyteller, speaker in person, and also I'm learning writer. So a part of your bio says, in order to thrive in the fifth industrial revolution, we must leverage technology to harness the power of human ingenuity. Will you tell me a story about that? How are you doing that and demonstrating that for your agents in your market center?
So that's a good question. I believe that as technology advances, we've got an opportunity to harness that technology and identify what is unique about the human brain, and then use that technology to leverage whatever that power is. So I'm super passionate about Command, KW Command, and rolling that out. It's life-changing for so many people. I've seen the way that it changed my business. I've spent a number of years as a market center tech trainer, saw the way it changed other people's businesses as well. Because here's what technology allows us to do. It allows us to not do all the things that we're not best at. The things that can be systematized and automated, the things that can be sent to somebody else at the snap of a finger, so that we can do only what is most important to us. And when we get to focus on that one thing, we become better at that one thing. We offer more value, right? So I think it's really, it's pretty incredible, because it's not a matter of what can we do within a system. It's how can we create a system to work for us, so that every individual person can leverage technology and have a greater impact on the world.
It's so good. So what say you then, as we're building new technology? This is a question I know Nick loves to answer too. What say you when we run into the complaints of new technology not being perfect? I'm guilty of the same thing. When our agents get stuck, when people get stuck by that, what's your encouraging word to them?
Well, what old technology were they using that was perfect? First of all,
good.
And there's nothing, right?
Right.
Because whatever could have been perfect was something that was static, that was finished, and we're not finished advancing. And so why should the technology we use claim that there's a finish line at all either? So there's some growing pains there, right? Also, most often where we see complaints is one of two directions. Either somebody that's looking to stretch that technology to the limits, which is awesome. And if you're at the bleeding edge of something, or even an early adopter, you're going to run into errors, because you are the reason that system gets better. Because as you encounter errors, you improve it for everybody else. So that's the first type. The second type of person is somebody that perhaps wants to simply improve the system as opposed to using it for progress. I saw Aaron Kaufman drop progress over perfection. And I think that's so important, is always taking a step forward. Despite what roadblocks I find, and if I don't use technology of some sort, I'm going to find all sorts of roadblocks naturally every single day. How can I advance? How can I just take one additional step forward and focus on the compound effect of getting 1% better every single day, instead of looking at the limitations that are holding me back? So I know that's kind of conceptual, but I mean, what it really comes down to is use what you've got. And no matter what, just the idea of having a CRM and a pipeline is game changing for most businesses. Most businesses don't take advantage of that, unfortunately. And so if you just simply did those two things and focused on those, it changed your world.
Yeah. So
Go ahead,
sorry.
Nick.
Go ahead, Jesse. No,
No. Go ahead. Nope. Absolutely not. Nope.
Okay. So you're passionate about Command. I'm passionate about Command too. And if you've been in there recently, since family reunion, you can see all of the bugs being ironed out. It's getting much smoother. Are you because you're a team leader of a market center, right? And you have your own sales team, but are you recruiting with Command, or because that's difficult to do, because as real estate agents, we have shiny objects put in our face every day, right? So I found that recruiting with the technology is difficult. But what about you? What do you do?
Yeah, I'd agree. If recruiting to just a piece of a tool, nobody wants to be recruited to a tool, right? Because they're thinking, well, if you've got that tool, then I'll just go find that tool, right? Tools at a certain point get replicated, and we know that it's going to be impossible to catch up to the progress that we have in this tool, but it's still just a tool. Instead, we focus on solutions. What type of solutions, right? Maybe it's a tool in combination with coaching. Maybe it's coaching in combination with some type of leverage. Maybe it's just the general support, right? Identifying and taking a consulting role where we can see where the holes are in the business, where the pain points are that we can quickly alleviate. Really, as long as we come from contribution. It's the same concept that we've always taken to our clients and consumers is what do you want to achieve? What's keeping you from getting there, and how do I help you overcome that? What resources do you need to get to where you're going? And it's no different with agents' businesses. But it has to be their story. It's not a matter of, hey, you're joining us on our path, on our story. It's, hey, where are you in your story, and how can we support you in getting there?
And it ties into our culture. That's it's our jobs, and I feel our duty to share that gift with the industry, right? And so that's kind of how I look at and how I frame quote unquote recruiting, right? But you are so you're a labs advisor, and you've been so helpful. I know to my market center tech trainer and through the region in how you pivoted during COVID and how you set up your training room and your market center. Can you give us some nuggets from that? I've gotten so much from it so far.
So we've done a couple things. We've realized that, so if the motto is always meet people where they are, we don't need people to come to us. That's the reason why we would door knock to gain real estate business in the first place. If we know their home, we just go there, no excuses, right? Well, the same in real estate. When the pandemic threatened to shut down all of our businesses, we had to get there anyway. We had to meet people where they are. And if they were stuck in their homes, we had to find a better way to do it. We all jumped on Zoom. That's great. There's limitations to Zoom. There's limitations to Facebook live streams, right? Things like StreamYard help that. What are the other things that we have, the tools that we can implement to better meet people where they are? By that, I mean, how do we break down the barrier of the computer on our end? I can't control what your computer looks like on your end, what your screen is, but I can at least control my input and how I show up on your screen so that I'm at least meeting you where you are. And there's a number of different ways we can do that. Simply better gadgets. There's, for less than $1,000, you can get a really killer setup that allows you to cut through a lot of the internet and just show up in front of somebody.
It's so cool.
Yeah, being intentional about your environment. So we just looked at what can we do to create everything hybrid. So what I'm standing in front of right now is actually a rolling cart that we just take out to our training room for all of our events, so that any of our training sessions, I can have it in person for those who choose to come into the training room, because we are in person again, but then we're also hybrid online, so that those that cannot attend, those that choose not to attend, whatever limiting circumstances they may have, they can still be a part of it. And we can do everything that we can to make them feel like they are a part of the room. And even if they don't feel it, they get to be a part of that action and that collaboration, which, if there's one thing that the Market Center is so powerful for, it is the concept of collaboration, bringing people together to solve common objectives, common problems with each other's solutions.
Great job. Yeah.
Do you feel that we're going to be continuing to be virtual and in person for the kind of non-foreseeable future?
Yeah, is that going away?
No. I think we all know that
Here to
answer.
stay. Yeah.
It's here to stay. It's
Yeah.
absolutely here to stay. And it's a hybrid environment, but as long as we focus and make sure it's a really excellent experience for the virtual user,
Mhm.
it's easy to augment that in person. Right.
Sure. Sure.
I mean, we look at digitally based, physically enhanced. I may have a digital presence that is everywhere. And then I enhance that with my physical presence when I show up with somebody in
Mhm.
business. We get to do the same thing with training.
I feel like, sorry, Jesse, I just wanted to say
go
one
ahead.
thing that has to do with that. Well, I feel like we're going to be like this for a while. And when I started as regional tech trainer in February of 2020, like I wasn't even a month into it until the shutdown, right? But I went back and forth from Ohio to Michigan like 3 times within that month because I had to go visit teams out there. But I don't think if that was what I was going to continue to do throughout the entire year, because I had to in my contract, I had to go back and forth like twice a month. I don't think I would have been able to do 100 tech audits in 10 months. Like I would definitely not have would have been able to do that. I would have had to been in person, and maybe I would have gotten through, I don't know, half that, right? I
Maybe,
definitely
yeah.
would have gotten more worn out. And I feel like we're able to reach so many more people. Like I'm sure, like you're doing R2 appointments through Zoom, right? Or StreamYard or whatever. And that you can pack your schedule, right? Like you don't have to, put a little buffer in between if you're meeting someone at a Starbucks, right? Like back to back to back to back to back. Is that kind of what, you embraced as well? Were you able to do it that way?
Yeah, technology allows us to scale. I think it's really simple. Whatever
Mhm.
simple input we might put in, technology allows us to scale that up. Whatever impactful action we may take, technology allows us to scale it up without pain. Right.
Mhm.
I mean, it's no different than the conversation of, holding 10 listings at once is less than 10 times the effort of holding one listing. But working with buyers is 10 buyers is more than 10 times the effort of working with one. It's because with listings, we get to use systems. We get to use, that's it. We get to use systems and tools, and
Mhm.
technology affords us that same thing in any of our other efforts. And it allows us to align our efforts in multiple different areas and multiple different roles. So we can be in front of more audiences, more consistently.
Mhm. Talk to me about your plans for Red Day. We need to start talking about Red Day. It's the 13th, right?
Yeah.
It's the 13th, so it's 2 weeks away, 15
Right.
days, something like that. What's your market center doing? How are you involving everybody? Tell me everything.
We're really excited. So I'm pretty recent to this market center, just about 3 months in. And so we want to make a splash in the community. And so we've partnered with some local leaders. We've partnered with Carter Blood Care to do a blood drive.
Cool.
We've got a local animal shelter that has recently opened, and it is the first no-kill animal shelter in the city, which we're super
Yay.
excited about. So they're going to be bringing some dogs out for puppy playtime, and then we're also doing a canned food drive. And we're inviting not just our agents, but local community residents and business leaders, as well as our agents, clients, and consumers to better capture the attention of the market here right now.
That's awesome. And puppies, can't beat them. Can't beat puppies. So tell us about your leadership journey. So you have a small but mighty team, and then how did you get into? Were you recruited to be team leader, or how did that work? What's the story?
Yeah, it's been kind of a journey. So I'll never forget. It was family reunion. I guess it means 18. It was a little over 2 years ago, and or was it 19? It was 18. Anyhow, that when Command was launched, and I came back to the market center saying, hey, this is going to be a really big deal. Somebody's got to who's teaching about it? Who's going to train people on it? And there were crickets. And so I came back again, and I came from a really big market center with powerful thought leaders and awesome business owners. So I figured there's got to be somebody to step up. Well, the thing is, what I realized is everybody's got their own thing. And I was noisy enough about it that people got sick of. They're like, Seth, if it's that important, just teach it. Just do it.
It's you, man.
All right, cool. So
you were volunteering yourself.
Yeah. So we had the opportunity to kind of roll out what does a tech trainer look like, and at the same time, our entire region was really starting to adopt that the same concept. So we had one of the first regional tech trainers, and developed our our tech ambassador, tech advisor program across the region, and we're able to kind of build the model of what that looks like for the rest of the country. Just a part of it, right? But I was really honored to see that develop. So I spent 2 years in that role as market.
So you were the regional tech trainer for 2 years before there was really a regional tech trainer.
I wasn't ever the regional tech trainer. I had a counterpart, Jeff Hickey, who was really instrumental. It was just awesome. He operates in that role now, and he and I kind of took on different roles in it, and worked a lot of trainings and thought leadership together, because no one person can train. And Nick, you know this. No one regional tech trainer can train tech at all the market centers. Right. They have to work through all the individual tech trainers in all the market centers. So that's what I took it upon myself, and Jeff did too. How can we equip people to better train their agents, and not just do a walkthrough with technology, but again, consulting. What's your business look like? Where are the holes? How can we help you use technology to solve that, to serve more people? So did that for 2 years, and through the process realized that I have an absolute passion for training and teaching and consulting. And so I raised my hand for more opportunity, and we were in conversation for a while, looking for the right opportunity. This presented it when really just this past fall. So we spent a couple months talking about what that would look like. And February of this year, stepped in as team leader.
Oh, so you were wow. You've only been team leader for like 2 months, 3 months, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And he's awesome. So how has it been? How is the brand new team leader? How has that been for you? Yeah. Are you sleeping is my real question.
Oh, well, Jesse, what time did you receive that email last night?
It was 12:08.
11:15 Eastern.
Yeah. So I was up for at least another hour. I adopt flexible sleep schedules. I'll put it that way. But I've always done that. I came from 15 years in retail, and I spent at least 3 months each year in retail working midnight releases. I was a store manager for GameStop for a long time, and managed for Fry's Electronics. And so I was used to prepping for the holiday season, Black Friday, and midnight releases. So furious sprints, they don't scare me. And I found that I'm in a sprint to kind of relaunch this market center, redefine the value, and then break in anew to this local market and kind of change the conversation here. So it's been really exciting, because a lot of the conversations I'm having with agents in this market are new conversations they've never had before. And so I can see the momentum building, and I can see that we're going to be able to change lives here. And that's really exciting, because when we change agents' lives, we change so many homeowners' lives. We can equip people to be better agents. It improves the entire homeownership experience.
So Seth, I got to ask you, you were a manager at GameStop. So what games are you playing right now?
Man, that's a good question. So I recently downloaded Forza 4, because Forza 4. Forza 4.
Forza 4. Oh yeah.
It's a race car game.
Racing game. Yeah.
So my wife bought a Tesla, which I'm kind of a gearhead on the combustion engine side. So I thought it was a little ridiculous. And I started driving it. I was like, man, this is like the coolest thing I've ever touched.
Yeah.
But it drives totally different. So I had to download a video game, because that's how I learned to drive a car when I was a kid, was I just pushed them to the limits in games.
So what? Yeah. So what's different about it? What's the feel of driving the vehicle is completely different. Why? What makes it different?
So there's a couple of things. The big thing is the accelerator pedal. When you release it, it applies a brake. It is called active braking. And so it changes it. It's a safety feature, which is neat. And it's constantly regenerating the battery, which is neat. But it means that you can't do certain things by quick taps of the brake.
Like you can't fishtail.
No, you can't fishtail. I tried. This thing's all-wheel drive, which already makes it difficult. I was like, man, let me see. You can't push it. You can't push the tail out.
That's I hear the challenge. I hear a challenge in that. I'm like, I could push the tail out.
Yeah. I have a EV, but I don't have a Tesla. I have a Chevy Bolt.
See, those are cool. I went shopping for a Chevy Volt, and I ended up buying a Challenger instead. That was a number of years ago.
Well, no, I have the Bolt with a V. I had a Volt with a V before that, but now I have the Bolt with a B.
Got it.
They stopped making the Volt, but the Bolt, it gets like 200 miles per charge. It's really quiet, fun to drive. I'm just excited for the EV future, man.
So future. That's a good word. What you said, Seth, you are building the market center of the future. What does that specifically look like to you? Like, what's the first initiative? What's the last one? What's the final product?
That's a good question. I think we're kind of still discovering that. I think we were discovering it by identifying problems and creating solutions. Here's how I think people create success is they identify unique problems and they provide unique solutions that nobody else is providing, or at least deliver them in a way that other people aren't delivering. And so we just got to do that for agents right now. So they can solve, so they can answer today's demands and they can solve tomorrow's problems. I don't know what tomorrow's problems are yet, right? For the homeowner and for other agents. But the idea is to set something that is nimble enough, that is profitable enough, that we can deliver to agents whatever it is they desire. So
can you help me design our studio? You love doing this. I love video. I love editing video. I could spend hours, I could waste hours of time micro editing a video. And so we set up a studio in the market center and it's not perfect yet. How do I make it perfect?
Yeah.
What does yours look like?
I'm maybe that's a question for Nick because I'm still figuring that out.
Well, you know,
it's fun to buy stuff and break stuff though, isn't it?
It is.
I
We
will
just test a
send
lot of
you-
things.
I have this cool PDF download that I found online that kind of breaks down different versions of home studios and how much things cost and little
That's awesome.
gadgets you can use. I'll forward it to you.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think right now listen, everybody's so conscious about their background and the lights they have and the microphones. I just think that this pandemic definitely was terrible, right? And then I think there were lots of silver linings in that, you know, we were forced to improve just
so much change.
Yeah,
so much
everything
change
around us, how we present and how we teach. And, you know, I just think that was the plus side to it, right?
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't have done it to this extent otherwise.
Mhm.
And I'm having a lot of fun with that aspect of it. You know,
It's a lot of fun. And Jesse, I'm with you. Well, actually, I'm of an opposite mindset. I can't stand the editing part. Like, I love recording and creating. And if I could just hand it off to somebody else and have it finished, that's great. But here's the one thing. I like one take. I don't like to take 15 takes. And so I like to have different backdrops and different environments. So I've got like a step and repeat for the market center here. You can see I've got a little green screen panel. I've got different acoustic tiles throughout the room. Opposite for me is a green wall. So at least in one space we can pivot and then very quickly get whatever backdrop, whatever we need. Lights are on tripods. The mic is fixed to the desk. So it makes it really easy to travel. You don't need lights everywhere you go. Sometimes natural lighting is really good.
You've helped me so much already. Thank you. Tell me what so I've heard recently, it was Jay Papazan that said that educators are in it for the impact. And so, and you've used the word impact and the phrase change lives several times this morning. So what was the last training or higher level learning of any sort that affected you and that impacted you?
Good question. So I've taken career vision a number of times now, and the most recent time was largely impactful. And I think that was more so just the arc of my career and where that came in, because leverage is, for me, the most important thing. Success through other people is the most important thing. Here's the deal. The pandemic devastated so many small businesses throughout the nation, and in different areas it hit them even harder. Jesse, we're really fortunate to live in a place where local businesses were not as badly impacted, and yet how many local restaurants, mom and pop shops shut down forever. In
Denton, Texas, at least a dozen. Sad to see.
It really is. And Nick, I'm not sure what the local impact was there, but I'm sure you've got personal friends that will never go back into the business the same. We've got an opportunity, those of us who are winning right now, who have been able to provide solutions to help other people win. And if we're not creating opportunities for others to achieve their dreams through whatever success we're finding, we're in fact failing. We may feel like we're winning, but if we're not giving the opportunity to other people, it is nothing but failure. And career vision, I took it from a different viewpoint this time, and it was really impactful. Just seeing that it is not about those people I'm interviewing solving my problems or accomplishing my goal. It's how can I execute this process? How can I facilitate this discussion so I can best help them achieve their future?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that the businesses, you know, some businesses, well, let me back up. I think when we're going to be thinking of business models now, whether it be a restaurant or a real estate team or whatever it might be, a movie theater, I think we're going to now start to think about, okay, what if, because this pandemic is far from over, we have to ease back into it. And I think a lot of the things that we're doing now we're going to continue to do. And a lot of people are going to be, simply because a lot of people are still going to be worried, right?
Yeah.
About getting COVID. So we're going to have to take that into account. But I also think when you're creating a new business now, you're going to have that aspect to it where if this happens again, you can pivot over to that and you won't see any sort of decrease in your business. And you can kind of have the two running side by side, like we're doing right now, virtual and physical. I think that every business has that type of feeling to it.
Yeah. Pandemic proof in the way that, and Gary says this best, the restaurant down the street, the reason why they closed during COVID is because they didn't know their customer. They didn't know that, you know, if they called me, hey, Jesse, you and your husband had chicken marsala on Wednesday nights. Would you like us to make that and deliver that to you? They would have been open and had customers for life. And it's that the difference is knowing your customer and being able to own and work a database in any business. Can you think of any business that wouldn't benefit from that? I can't. I think that's the difference. There
was a restaurant on the West Coast when I used to live there. I used to go there a lot. It was very popular. It was called the Soup Plantation. And it was very healthy food. Think of like Panera, but in a buffet style. But and they also brought stuff to your table as well. So it's kind of both. But they decided, because it was strictly buffet, about 99% of it, they closed voluntarily, like all 100 of their stores within the first 6 months of the pandemic. And they said, this is our model and we can't do it any other way. They just decided to close all 100 stores. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why? You know, you could have pivoted to a table service, right? And then gradually figured out how to make a buffet safe. I didn't understand that.
Well, so here's a question.
I think if you're a business that has made it through the pandemic and you've given yourself that opportunity to but change or pivot your model, you have succeeded.
And don't we have a responsibility to share that with other people?
Yes.
What's that?
Don't we have a responsibility to share that with other people to help them make better models?
And decisions. Yeah.
100%.
My question being, and for y'all, tell me, that's a great example of people thinking that their priorities and their thinking had changed. Like during the pandemic, we had a lot of time to think. So folks decided to get into real estate to completely change careers and get out of it and completely change careers. Have you seen that in real estate and apparently restaurants, and where else? Have you had conversations like that? Like, hey, I understand your priorities have completely changed.
I mean, I know movie theaters have really had to come up with new ways to get people in the door, like renting out the theaters to, groups, right? Like groups of friends and family who know each other, who can contact trace, and you can rent out a theater for 20 people and have a birthday party. My kid went to a couple of those. They were very safe. So there's things that you have to do in order to pivot. Like, here's a great example. HBO Max, huge example of how they crushed it, right? All of the Warner Brothers films being released in 2021, all 18 of them are released on HBO Max and in the theater simultaneously. And guess what? HBO Max went from like 20 million subscribers at the beginning of the pandemic to 45 million subscribers because of that. So while they're not getting the box office, they're getting the $15 a month, and they doubled their subscription rate.
But
Nick,
like the example of the restaurant, sorry, Seth, the example of the restaurant, they maybe they did see the answer in a different model and chose not to do the work. They chose not to be, we all chose to be leaders and stay leaders during a pandemic. And
Right.
did we know how much work it was going to be? No, probably not. Would we have done the same thing? Maybe not. And I'm glad we all did, but I'm still seeing the effects of that. I'm still seeing the effects of people's thinking having completely changed in their priorities also. So just curious your perspective.
Yeah. I would do it again. First of all. And it's because the story's not over yet. Like, what's the lasting impact of the things that we've changed about our lives and our business? Because there is no cost that we pay without some other type of benefit that we get in return. That's always the case. It's proven throughout history. With those that have, like, say, been sent home. So many people loved the office culture, and there were so many companies that that was the reason people wanted to go to work, is they wanted to see their friends. Everybody got sent home, right? And that caused a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear, right? And that fear causes people to freeze and not take action, or take really ridiculous actions that destroys a lot of potential. Those that choose instead to embrace the circumstances and to operate as best they can within their given environment, those that have a growth mentality instead of a victim mentality, created a lot of really cool opportunities. So we've got some friends in the neighborhood who were sent home. They didn't used to work remote, but they worked remote all throughout the pandemic, and weren't real happy about that. And it allowed them to focus on a small business that they had started, and they got a little bit of recognition for, but they were not able to ever scale it. They're at home. So what better to do than to grow that thing that you've been thinking about for 3 years? And now they've got a spice business that is getting awards all over the place. They're shipping internationally, and it's delicious. It's wonderful. And it will forever change the course of their future because they were able to focus on that one thing. That's the big thing the pandemic has allowed us to do, is give us, Jesse, you said we had a lot of time to think. A lot of time to think. I think it could be destructive unless we choose to focus it on the more productive things that move us forward.
So I have a feeling that you have a really perfect morning. I have a feeling that you have a very productive, healthy morning. Am I accurate? Would that be accurate?
It's so funny. No. I'd like to say yes. I'm driven to accomplish things in the morning. I've got 4 daughters, and my wife and I run several businesses together. And so I'm still figuring that out. I'm a night owl by nature. And so if I can get up and just conquer my morning and get my thoughts right, that's my big thing. I will say I allow myself white space, whatever I can do to allow myself white space in the morning to think, because it allows me to gather clarity around what's most important for that day, even if I don't have everything else figured out. Even if the kids are late for school, which they're not. In fact, I've taken that as a badge of honor at the one parent that not just against my wife. We've got a unique situation, but never had our girls had a tardy. So
wow, that's huge,
kids, right?
I mean, bragging points. At least for the girls. The twins are now freshmen in high school, and so that's a big deal now. And I remind them.
I can't even imagine.
That is a big deal. No, that's
freshman
wear
girl.
that badge.
Yeah.
Forget it. They would never leave the house.
Oh man.
So 2 freshmen, and then how old are your other girls?
7 and 5.
That's so
second
much
grade,
fun.
and the youngest will be going into kindergarten next year.
That's so much fun. Wow. Lucky guy.
I brought a couple of questions because
Please.
I figured just be prepared in case you guys spun it and said, Seth, you're the guest host today. We're just going to be
I love
you're the
this.
guest host for the next 9 minutes. Go ahead.
This.
Yeah. Well, first of all, can I just say I was so excited you guys started off with the space conversation, because I'm a total space nerd. Got me really jazzed to have this whole conversation with you guys. I grew up for like 2-3 years, we lived in like NASA's backyard in the California desert. My grandfather and grandmother both worked for NASA and Rockwell, Boeing, and a whole bunch of other things. So it was cool. We got to tour the space shuttles and stuff. And I'll
That's
never forget as a
awesome.
kid, I wanted to be an astronaut until I got in one of those human gyroscopes. You guys done one of these?
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
No, what's
So you sit in a seat and it's got like a round
Oh,
bar
yeah,
and then
yeah, yeah,
another
yeah.
round one.
Okay.
You just flip and spin in all the directions.
Yeah.
And I got so sick and I realized, you know what? Space shuttles are really cool. I'm going to view them from the Earth.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right.
But
Yeah.
both your grandparents worked for NASA.
Yeah, different. We had, yeah,
You're
a whole
in
bunch
this,
in
so
the
you're in
That's
aerospace
this
awesome.
industry.
world. You're in
Mhm.
this world. So would you go to Mars?
I would actually.
Really?
Would you be the first one there,
being
Seth?
violently
No.
ill on that gyroscope.
Yeah.
I would go to Mars.
If they can fix that problem. I feel like if they can make oxygen on Mars, they can fix the little nausea problem that we're having getting there. I
Yeah.
feel like.
I
You know
would
what I
hope so.
think? You know what I think? Because I just got a notification that one of the streams, one of the channels that we're streaming the show to on Facebook, disconnected, and it's like, oh, there's a little bug in the system. If they can turn oxygen, they can turn the atmosphere on Mars into oxygen. Why can't they just not? Why can't they just stream this without any glitches? That's my question.
That's a good
but
question.
Seth, would you be the first one on Mars? Because I would probably not be the first one.
I don't know.
What's the
The
benefit?
first one also sounds like maybe the only.
Eh,
But there's a
Right.
chance. So I don't know.
It
Maybe.
takes 2 years. It takes, I think. Oh no, it takes 5 months to get there. I think.
Yeah, I call it a blue sky conversation. I'd at least talk about it and see, what's the benefit there.
oh, blue sky conversation.
Yeah.
I've never
So
heard that before.
Oh, I'm all about it. Yep.
Oh, I love
My-
the term. So go ahead, Nick.
Well, I was gonna say my father-in-law has a friend who's an astronaut. He's actually been to space, and what he says when you're in the rocket ship, at least the first time, you're like, "What the frick am I doing? This is insane." Like and then you get up there and you see it, and you're like, this is so cool. And
I
then
had reservations about going on a cruise ship. So
right,
I don't know. Not me.
because you can't just turn around if you change your mind. Like you can't be like, "Hey, I'm gonna turn this ship around."
Right.
Yeah, how many tons of fuel strapped to your back, lit on fire?
You can't do that.
You can't just turn
Right.
around.
And I
Please
always
don't
find
turn
it
around.
interesting in these movies, they have just enough fuel and oxygen to get there. Maybe like have a little extra once in a while, so then we don't have to, worry about it. Hey, I want to ask you a quick question. Oh, did you have another question?
I've got a question for each of you.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So Nick, I'll ask
Okay,
you.
sorry.
I'm just curious. Nikes or Adidas?
Oh my gosh, Seth. Well, clearly we don't know each other well enough.
This is very cool.
I am Nike till I die. Not just that, I make my own on NikeID.com. Yeah, NikeID.com. I design my own. That way I'm the only one in the entire world with those Nikes. And I love Air Force Ones. But now I'm getting into cross trainers and stuff too. So Nikes.
That's great. That's awesome. It's something we share with the twins is when they have a big accomplishment, when they help out big at home or something, we go shoe shopping, right?
Dude.
And it's not like they may go shoe shopping with mom and look for a certain type. No, we go basketball shoe shopping. So it's all
cool.
Nikes as well here.
I love
I'm
it.
right there with you. Jesse,
Yes.
Buc-ee's or Check Stop? Those
What
of you who are in the
I
Texas
don't know
audience,
what either of those things are.
exactly.
Well, me having there's a tiny bit of a backstory here. Both excellent. So Check Stop is in it's West Texas,
Mhm.
right? So the name of the city is West, and famous, world famous kolaches, and they're amazing. Buc-ee's.
I don't know what that is either.
So
It's a sausage inside of a pastry.
uh-huh.
Oh my God.
And they have fruit ones
amazing.
also, and yeah, the real
Oh my
ones.
God.
You're
So
supposed to pronounce them kolaches. I've heard. I don't know. But anyhow, that's the most famous place in the world for it. Excellent place in West Texas. And Buc-ee's is a 96 pump gas station with a giant world of gas station stuff on the inside that you can go and buy. Now, my husband being a commercial banker for 20 years, I am blessed with a quarterly Newquist family meeting that all the financials are there, and I usually get banned from a store. I'm currently not banned from Buc-ee's, but I have been. Before.
You were banned from something. Oh, you were banned from a hotel during that party you had for your market center.
Oh yeah. I'm banned from I think I'm probably banned from hotel in town too. But you walk inside Buc-ee's and everything is amazing. They have rooster spoons and camping supplies. They have all different kinds of food and specialized beef jerky. You could stay in there forever. You could survive. You could survive and thrive with everything that you could purchase in Buc-ee's. And so long-winded answer, but Buc-ee's 100%. Rooster spoons. Yes.
Right. Buc-ee's.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
Nice.
We have one here in Denton, Texas. Yes,
Yep.
it happened.
The first one that I went to in the Metroplex. We'd always go on road trips, right? But then when they dropped the one in Denton, I'm like, no, I'm taking a local road trip, driving right out.
I think I don't have it behind me, but yes, I do have. There's usually a Buc-ee's logo, a beaver behind me somewhere. So, I love it.
What other questions you got for us, co-host Seth?
That's it, really.
Oh,
I didn't prepare real well to be a host.
What's that?
I said I didn't prepare real long.
Well,
I have another question for you, because it says here on your biography that you also geek out on gadgetry and tech integration. What's your favorite gadget right now?
Oh, man. That's a good question. So I really dig smart home stuff. The Google smart home is awesome. We've got some elements in the market center. I've got a bunch throughout my house. It's just really neat because it makes it easy to approach and easy to engage with for anybody. So yes, that means that I've got microphones in like every room in our house. But I'll tell you this. So I after GameStop, I worked with Fry's Electronics. We did audio, video, and such. And so I've always had some kind of complex theater at home, or like 10 different devices connected to our family room TV, and nobody in the family ever knew how to use it. Like, we'd have a training session. We'd be like, all right, guys, we got 45 minutes. We're going to walk through. Here's your manual. But we never got to that point. So they never knew how to use it. Now we've just got this one little white remote that if they don't know what to do, they can talk to it and it just happens. And that's awesome. And so talk about, we kind of started this conversation about leveraging technology to make our lives easier in business. Well, why not use it to make our lives better at home as well? Mm. And instead of spending time frustrated, instead of me running in there and fixing or changing inputs or whatever else, one little white remote and my 5-year-old knows how to use it. Unfortunately, they only use it for YouTube, it seems. Preston Styles, but
oh my gosh, my kids watch Preston all the time. I think he's funny, but like when I wake up at 6 a.m, he's a little too hyper for my taste.
A bit much.
Well, at 10 p.m. he was screaming at the TV, and at 7 a.m. he's still screaming at the TV.
This kid Preston plays. He's one of the most. He's one of the richest YouTubers, and he's like 25 years old. But he's a lot of fun to watch. He's funny, yeah.
Is he playing video games? And this is one of our
both video games, and then he does activities, and so it's a little bit of both.
Minecraft and prank shows. He's local to here, and the dude at 24 had a $1.7 million house in Colleyville.
There's a lot of them in Texas.
Yeah,
my kids watch Preston Plays, and they watch Unspeakable, and they sometimes get together and do things. All right, so smart home stuff. Before we wrap up, like in terms of what, like smoke detectors?
What do you use it for? Yeah, what's your favorite?
So we use locks. Anything if we just need access to it, or if we need to know information about it. So our vacuum is connected, and we've got a handful of different displays so we can see our doorbell when it goes off. We never lock ourselves out of the house because we've got a smart lock. We could tell when doors are open, so we can shut them, and windows, and our AC's tied in. Just about everything.
Your windows
and then media and entertainment. No, I can't close them, but I can tell when they're open at least.
That's good.
Aren't you worried
it's going to storm in Texas.
Aren't you worried that just Google could just unlock your door whenever they want?
Yeah. I'm also worried that I would sometimes not be able to unlock my own door if I wanted to.
I'm on that side.
There was this thing that Amazon was testing where they were going to give Amazon delivery drivers access to open your front door and put your box, put your package in your foyer. I'm like, no, you can leave it out front. It's all good.
I'm good with that.
Right. They were testing that. Yeah. No, please don't come in my garage. I'm good.
Believe me. It's okay.
Yeah.
Leave it right there.
I've got a porch. That's one item that somebody might take as opposed to my entire house, which they might take.
Right.
So keep it outside.
They need it. They need it more than me. Wow.
So one last question. What are you reading?
Oh, right now. So I'm shifting. I'm reading 3 books right now, and I'm shifting away from one. 5 Second Rule. I'm just finishing up. Mel
favorite.
Robbins, really, really cool. Tim Ferriss,
I love Tim Ferriss.
Tools of Titans. I'm just starting.
Dude. I have it right over there. You can't see it, but it's on my desk over there.
On the list.
And then I'm rereading a whole bunch. So actually, any books that I ever have behind me, I'm in the process of rereading. And they're actual tools. I keep them as backdrops, but they're not backdrops. Like I keep them there so I can just grab them and quickly reference.
Mm-hmm.
So Atomic Habits, 12-Week Year, and Clockwork are the three that I read kind of in tandem and really have played those ideas with each other with a lot of concepts for the one thing and just using the tool. So I constantly use those as reference materials, since January, really looking at those pieces.
Mike Michalowicz is a great author. He wrote Profit First as well. And Jesse, just so you know, because I know you were curious, that book you mentioned, the 5-second rule, that's not about dropping food on the floor and having 5 seconds.
All right.
Yeah.
I know. And you can't see it, but on my wall, there's a signed piece.
Just trying to help you out.
Signed page of that book from Mel herself to me.
That's
she
awesome.
wrote me a personal mantra. Okay, I'm very familiar. I was going to say it's an awesome book to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
She's great to listen to, and I still will when I drop my Skittles on the ground. I probably will pick them up.
Skittles are fine because you can just wipe them off. But anything like sticky, like bacon or eggs.
Ew.
Like the spicy
mind.
sweet Bucky's beef jerky may not be good to pick back up off the ground.
No, a chicken wing you don't want to pick.
I would pick that up.
Yeah.
So listen, this has been a lot of fun. Seth, nice getting to know you. We have a lot in common, as it turns out. You're a very techie guy with, lots of interest in those things. I'm not, what I'm saying is
so similar.
I feel like in that sense, we have a lot in common. We both have beards, and that also helps too. I'm, the beard there's an unspoken beard friendship that just happens.
I grew this last night so I can meet you where you are.
Oh, wow. I'm
impressed. I'm joking.
You'll be like this by tomorrow.
Right.
That's nuts. You're like,
this has been fun, Nick.
Homer Simpson. You shave and then it's like for 5 seconds and then boom, it just comes right back. But thank you for being here. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate it. And Jesse does too. Jesse's been booking some good guests lately.
Jesse's awesome.
I leave her in charge of doing all the stuff because she's so good at it.
Nick, can I just say, I love the conversations you create, the environments that you generate so that people can just share really great ideas. And I hope I brought any of them today, but I just really appreciate the people you bring together. And Jesse, you just impact every time I see you, you are just a ball of sunshine and you seem to make everybody's day brighter and better and move forward. So thank you guys for having me. It's fun.
I asked Jessie why she's always... I asked her, how are you always so happy all the time? Like this morning, you may have noticed I was a little grumpy. I was a little grumpy this morning.
What? Put it in the water. I said Wellbutrin. They should just put it in the water.
Oh, I'm on Wellbutrin too. What other antidepressants are you? Let's play that game. All right, cool. Well, Seth, I appreciate that. That's super kind of you. Just because, I'm not a big fan of the super duper serious conversations. I feel like you got to have fun with it, and I learn more when it's fun. And so that's just kind of the environment I want to create, and I want to make people feel comfortable and just kind of open up and say stuff. So unscripted, you know what I mean? Even though we have notes, it's not like we've prepared. I haven't, at least. I think Jesse's a little more prepared than I am. But that's
every once in a while, here's my trick. Ready? Every once in a while, pick up a piece of paper and go like this. And you look 150% more prepared.
Just ruffle the papers. Really. It makes you look important.
I'm not kidding.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We will see you on Friday. Everyone have an amazing day. Bye.
Have a great day.